Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about artistic style. Last week I did a lesson on color theory, and that's great. Color theory, your knowledge of color theory will develop as you get used to working with the pencils. There's another aspect of this that you really have to start thinking about, and the earlier you start thinking about it, the better off you're going to be. A lot of people unfortunately go into the art world or start coloring thinking they're going to do it just like someone else. And then they come out very disappointed. It's because what you're looking at is style. Style takes a couple of years to really develop, but it can start developing early if that is the frame of mind you put yourself in. And we're going to discuss style today as I'm demonstrating my style. There isn't a day that goes by that somebody doesn't make a comment about, I want to be just like you. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, wow, that's a big compliment to me. And believe me, I appreciate it. I love hearing it. But I want you to be just like you. And that's how you develop style. Yeah, you can copy somebody pencil mark to pencil mark, but that's not your art. You've got to develop what you like and what makes you stand out. Really on YouTube, there's only a handful of people that I could say have unique style, and then everybody else trying to copy them. I'm going to give an example, and I don't usually talk about YouTubers, and certainly never in a negative way. Chris Cheng. Everybody by now should know who Chris Cheng is. I think she is the most marvelous colorist because she is an artist. And when I first started watching her videos, I wanted to be just like her. And then I stood back and I said, wait a minute, I want to be just like me and then enjoy her. Now, what makes her stand out? Well, her pencil strokes, she uses a lot of curling. I mean, I studied her hand, so I know she does, and you probably notice a lot of this when she colors, and that's good. Her use of light, she's very bold in her use of light, where I'm a little bit more subtle in my use of light. Which one is correct? Both of us are correct. Just like all the masters out there, Picasso, Renoir, Jackson Pollock, if you look at any of the artists out there, why do they stand out? Why do people study them? Because each one of them has their own style. So let's talk about my style. And I was asked by Beth Crawford to work from Floribunda. And if you don't know this book, it's by Lily Dooley. Lila Dooley, sorry. This book, I would say, is a challenge. Her pictures are extremely, extremely detailed. And I think a lot of people don't realize you can color outside the lines. She puts so much details in her drawings that you couldn't possibly shade this area to the point where it makes a difference to the eye unless you're going with hyper realistic. And I don't know anybody that's watching my videos that can do hyper realistic artwork that is still watching my beginning tutorials. So my suggestion, if you're working out of this book or any very, very densely detailed book, I suggest to you to open it up a little bit. Like, I won't be coloring each individual strand. I'm going to take this as a group, and I took this as a group, and this flower as a group, and this petal as a group, and I didn't follow line by line. Her books are so lightly colored. It's a wonderful book. Her ink is so thin and delicate that it's very easy to color over and you won't see the lines. And that's what turns these pictures, that they're so well done you can actually hang them up, and the paper is artistic grade. Fantastic book. If you have not bought it yet, I highly recommend it. So, when I'm looking, Beth wants me to what's going through my head when I'm coloring. Well, you could see I've been working on this. I started this about a month ago, but I haven't, of course, been continually working on it. I pick it up, I put it down, and when I got asked to do one, I was like, "Oh, I have the perfect picture. It's partly done already." What I'm going to do on here is I'm going to show you what's going through my head when I'm drawing. I'm looking at this as a whole, okay? First thing I'm going to say to myself, and this before I put pencils down, is color scheme. What, if you close your eyes and you look at it, what's the picture look like in your head finished without touching the paper with a pencil? Now, the difference between somebody who colors and somebody who's an artist is somebody who colors creates it, and you throw your hands up in the air, and this is the right thing at your stage to be doing, and you're making mistakes, and I used to call them happy mistakes, because I'd be really happy if something came out really well, and then I can go, whoa. Once you cross the line to being able to see it in your head finished, and then take what's in your head and put it down on the paper, you've just crossed over the line from colorist to a true artist. Once you become a true artist, the sky's the limit. You could take it anywhere you want, because it's in your head and you're creating. Even though the lines have been drawn by other people, you yourself are creating the art. So when I first looked at this picture, it was, very detailed. I had trouble, as always with this coloring book, defining the areas and creating the groups. And plus I had to figure out a color scheme for it, where my head was out. I have this, it's the fall now. I wanted to start thinking about fall, and I love blue flowers. If it's my absolute favor, I will always choose a blue flower over any other color. When I looked at this, I couldn't tell if I think they're dahlias, but I didn't really want to do a dahlia. I want to do a cabbage. Do you ever go and look on the internet and look at the decorative cabbages? They don't grow here in the desert, and I'm sorry they don't. But when I was in New York, my garden at this time of year, I put in tons and tons of decorative cabbage. The colors are so beautiful. So what I'm going to do is turn these, I'm pretty sure they're dahlias, into cabbages. And I've already got that in my mind before I even put my pencil on this paper, what I'm going to do. And I also started thinking about color theme. What color am I going to make this to make it cohesive? And if you look on here, I'm using mostly cool colors. The dahlias are hot pink, they're pinks. I don't want to really do the pinks. I want to stick with the cool color theme. So, I realize that everything is going to have a little bit of hot, warm colors, and we have the middle of this, but I'm going to actually tone that down at the end. So you're going to see me develop these pictures into cabbages. What I also was thinking in my head is the negative space. Negative space is everything around your focus objects. As a beginner, I want to see you work on your focal objects first. As somebody who's confident in their skills like I am, I could pick and choose where I want to be, because it's already in my head what it's going. The picture, as far as I'm considered, is finished in my brain. I know now it's just taking my hand and doing the strokes going around it. So If you were going to do this picture yourself, I would not have done this. This stuff is secondary. The main focus on the picture would be these three larger flowers. So if you're going to choose an area to go for first, do your focus areas. And when I say that is because your focus areas is going to be the main where your eye goes to first. And if that screws up, you've wasted a lot of negative space coloring. And trust me, I do screw up. Don't think for a minute I don't. I do. Even I could be coloring forever. Sometimes I don't feel it. This picture I happen to feel a lot. I really like it. So I'm doing this backwards. I'm going to do the background first, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to do the background. I'm not going to need, you don't need to see me coloring these little individual areas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to film me coloring like this area, and I'm going to develop this completely for you. And then I'll come back and I'll do, quick between that and that. If you like this color combination, now can you figure it out? I'm using analogous colors. 3 colors next to each other. And I've got powder blue, I've got true blue, and I've got cerulean blue. Sorry about that. I should know my colors better than that. And see, I have a dark, a medium, and a light. And remember, that does not include your black and white. And your black and white, now you guys know because you watched my color theory, is, remember tint, tone, and shade? At the very end, now when I'm shading this, I'm saying shading by saying I'm putting in the hues and making things look shaded, but like shading. But at the end, I'm actually going to put shadow, which is different than shading. I'm going to shadow so that it comes to life. So let me do a little work on this, and I will be back to do your focal points.
What you saw and you want to see more, hit that like and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that bell.